here. So welcome to our info session here this afternoon. I'm really excited about being able to share with you guys just a little bit about Leadership Academy, what it is, how it's going to work, as I go into our interviews here these next couple weeks. Give me one moment. I want to make sure. Trying to see if people come on that they are muted upon entry. Okay, perfect. So for those I haven't met officially, Kathy Kristen, Division Manager for the Gulf of Texas, super excited to be able to support you guys and really see the growth. So I started with Cutco 22 summers ago, which is crazy to say. 21 years, it was this past August, and it's been an amazing, 2 decades with the company, and then some in 2 additional summers. And the biggest thing that's kept me here all this time and why I continue to do this is definitely the people and the growth that we get to see in people. So just seeing people come in a certain way, and as they work with us, the growth that happens in confidence and communication skills and people skills, like all the things and how people grow and develop. But the coolest thing is really seeing the professional development for me, like seeing people come in as, kids and really leave as like grown ass adults, right? Like businessmen, businesswomen who are phenomenal leaders, not just here, but in their communities, in their families, in their work. Like that's our goal. That's our mission, is to see people really rise up and see what's possible for them. Yesterday I had the opportunity to be with some great friends in Austin, and made some new friends that they introduced us. And one of the gentlemen who works a lot with cash flow and helping people with investing, we were chatting, and he's like, "Oh, how do you know everybody?" Right? And so it's always a fun question. And we all looked at each other and we laughed, and we're like, we sold a lot of knives together in like the late 90s, early 2000s. And they were like, "Oh my gosh, like, so John Rulin, John Berghoff, John Vroman, Hal Elrod, all these individuals that I've worked." And I'm like, "Oh yeah," and they're like, "What do they feed you guys?" And I started laughing, and they're like, "No, but seriously, like, what is it? Like, I know it's knives. I know you sell knives, but like some of the most amazing and like prestigious people that I've met in Silicon Valley, here, there, like they were just talking about different places. They're like, they like always connect back to Cutco, like so many people." And I'm like, "What is this place? What is it?" And they're like, "Oh, it's kitchen knives." And they're like, "What?" Which makes it even more confusing for people, because they're like, "Wait, what do you mean?" Right? And so, I was talking to one of the gentlemen yesterday. I said, it really is, it's a training grounds for leaders in and out of the business, right? I said, the program, I said, it's a student program, right? That we work with colleges nationwide. High school seniors can work with us too. And then we have non-students that work with us as well. And we have a whole professional sector. But since 1981, we have been a college student work program. And through the years, it developed where people after college were like, "I really like it here." And they didn't want to go anywhere else. And so they stayed here, whether it was as a manager or as a Cutco sales professional, which in the last decade, that's become really popular. And I'll tell you, 20 years ago when I started, that wasn't even a thing. We didn't have realtor reps. We didn't have fair and show program like we do today. We didn't have the federal program. We didn't have business gifting. We didn't have any of that 20 years ago. And so there's been so much evolution because people they love the company. They want to be here. They want to be surrounded by people who lift them up, who encourage them, who really inspire them to be the best versions of themselves. And that's something that we definitely see here in our community, in our business, and in our Leadership Academy. And so over the course of the next month, I will be interviewing, I don't know, probably 60 plus applicants, the top people from all 10 offices that I'll be meeting with, the top 6 to 10 people from each office. And the interviews are brief. They're typically 15, 20 minutes to really give me a gauge. Some people, it might take a little bit longer if they've worked here longer, they have bigger goals with the company, but typically it's a little bit more brief, and then we can catch up at a different time. But It's just, if you have one of the interviews, it does mean that you're one of the top candidates. We ask our district managers, branch managers, who they really feel could be top leaders, not just in Cutco, but in their industries, right? Top engineers, top teachers, top lawyers. Like, our goal is to develop 5-star recruits. Our goal is that you really get the most out of Cutco through college, right? Like, just so many people who have started out of high school, done Cutco through college, graduated debt free, own multiple homes. Ritter had like 180 grand in the bank saved when he graduated. Crittenton, I remember James Crittenton had over $230,000 saved when he graduated from University of Virginia after doing Cutco through college. Mike Arrieta, my number one guy, owned 2 houses, bought his parents a house, had his house that he had bought in Tuscaloosa when he was going to University of Alabama, and his buddies paid the mortgage, right? House hacking. And so he had a house that he owned, with a couple $100 grand in the bank when he graduated. And went on to start his next endeavor. And it's just so cool. And I can go on and on. I remember one of our other guys who's now division manager of the coastal division on the East Coast, when Ben was in school, he ran 3 branches and then was a pilot manager. And so each summer he was learning management, leadership. He was a finance major. He does a lot of investing. And he's like, I know that I want to have my own firm one day, or I want to be able to, lead people in a big, and so he really wanted to work those things out, because there's only so much, guys, that you're going to learn at school. Okay. There's only so much that you get in books, and you learn a lot of the knowledge. And so, yes, you know how to do it. You have the intellectual knowledge of the know-how, but it is very different when you go out to execute that knowledge. Okay. And that is why universities require internships. And they want people going through internships. They want people getting hands-on experience, right? So that it's not just all book knowledge, but then when you go out there, you're not like, oh shit, because there is a disconnect from what you learn and when you execute it. And so through repetition is where you gain confidence, right? And so going out and executing what you've learned in school, and once you've done it, so then you're like, oh, and the more experience you have, the more confident you are, because again, you've had more repetition. And so our goal is that Cutco through college can help you guys develop your communication skills, your leadership skills, your business skills, learning how to start building wealth young, right? Some of you are blessed that you have parents who already teach you that, right? Some of you might be like me, where my parents, I'm teaching them that right now, and like they just never learned those things and live paycheck to paycheck and in debt and Social Security and Medicaid and whatever to get by. And so our goal is that you're not just surviving, which is how my family was. Like, it was just like, survive. We just got to survive, right? I didn't want to survive. I want to thrive. Like, I really want to live a life that I can enjoy. I really wanted to be able to travel. I really wanted to be able to give a lot to my kids, and be able to set them up in a way that they can spend their life doing things that they love to do, that they're passionate about. And whether that's in the arts, that's music, that's helping people in need, doing mission work, whatever it is, that they could really follow their passions, their heart, and how they were wired, and not be stuck to have to do this because I have to make money, but learning to invest young and building wealth so that they make money off their investments, and they could spend their time doing the things that they love. And those are some things and principles that we start teaching as we go through the Leadership Academy with you guys. All right. And so what we do, and so I can, share with you guys like how things work, and what we do is we actually go through, in the fall. So basically for the next month, like I said, I start interviewing people. And so I've got interviews happening tomorrow. I have interviews happening through the week. And so I'll be meeting with, I don't know, probably 5 to 7 people a day that I'll be interviewing with on most days that I'm running interviews, and just really diving in to see what it is that they really want to get out of working here. What do they want in their future, right? What's the dream job? What skills are necessary to be able to excel at those high levels? Like, those are things that we definitely want to talk about. And how do they feel this could best serve them? All right. And so this is a program that I've taught in Cutco, that we have Leadership Academy all across the country. Cool. Every single division manager runs a Leadership Academy. I went through Leadership Academy 21 years ago. It's not what it is today. It's not my Leadership Academy. I wish I had my Leadership Academy when I went through it 21 years ago, because I know how much more advanced I would be at this point had I learned some of the things that you guys get to learn here. And this is something that now I have people in other industries wanting to bring this, to their business, to coach their top level leaders, sales leaders, real estate agents. I have somebody who wants to put this in the school system, also in the foster care program and in the juvenile detention centers program, because the work that we do and what you guys get to learn, like, it matters and it makes a very big impact on your future. Okay. And so I want to go through real quick so you guys can see, like, this is a syllabus that we use with the schools, with outside programs. In addition to this, we do a little bit more because we really teach you guys throughout the semester the ins and outs of how to start a business. All right. It's not just one day. So it's combined with this. So I want to show you guys. So if you haven't, please download it so that you guys have this syllabus so that you know. So if your parents are asking about it or what it is or what you're learning, you can show them this. But this is ran by me, Spencer, John, and Claudia, run the Gulf Coast Leadership Academy here in the Central Houston area. And so this talks a little about the need and why we feel this is important. As people are going out and graduating into the workplace, there's a big gap between the experience that they have and what they know, what they've learned in school, and what they need to know to make it in the real world at a high level. And so this talks about the Launchpad Leadership Academy that I created years ago and has evolved to really help people stand out when they graduate. And so it goes through the curriculum of the fall. All right. And so we do this throughout the course of the fall campaign. And it talks about what to expect, during the program. And this is really more. And those of you who have parents that come to Parents Night, this is something that we'll give and share with all the parents as well, so that they are aware of this. But these are the class descriptions. And so the first week we go through introduction and we talk about the decision plane and how this works. And we're going to talk together about, what your end goals are, right? Through this process, like, you graduate at the end of the semester from Leadership Academy. What have you gained? What have you learned? What doors have opened up? Have you started a new business? Did you earn a spot to run your own branch next summer or district office next summer, which, y'all, is the best launch pad you can have into running a business, is to be able to do it with a $250 million company who has proven programs, proven products that people love, and you don't have to worry about that. And you can really learn the ins and outs of how to manage yourself, how to manage others, how to manage money, how to pay bills, and be doing it all on your own, right? We go through abundance mindsets and start teaching you guys how to run interviews and foundations and interviews. We go through, and so this is interview skills part 1. There'll be more that we go through. We go through the 4 agreements and the psychology of sales. We talk about the power of goal setting. We go through achieving your goals, high performance habits. We go through the power association and 5 levels of leadership. We talk about emotional intelligence, difficult conversations made simple, time management basics. We go through financial fitness, creating a budget and pre-allocating funds, public speaking in action. So we actually have you guys do stuff and grade each other, right? Like, pitch something. We go through building a brand through social media, and then we have our graduation day. And so through this process, that's the personal growth development side of things. And then we also, in addition to that, because this is for the schools, in addition to that, you guys are also getting the foundations of how to build a business. And we use the Cutco framework as that, because we know how transferable everything that we do is to any business. And if you guys get good at doing those things here, oh my gosh, it makes things so much easier when you go out there to whatever job, whatever company, whatever industry it is that you guys are wanting to get into. And again, our goal is to help you guys stand out as 5-star recruits and help you make sure that you get the best job opportunities if you're trying to get a job, or that you have the know-how to be able to go out and run your own business. And so the purpose of these interviews that I'll be running is to really identify who are the top candidates, who has a desire to lead, who do I need to keep my eye on, right? And so over the next month, we'll make the decisions for Leadership Academy of who's in, who's not, and we'll know one way or another a month from now, exactly. And so the whole purpose of Leadership Academy is to really develop you as a leader, regardless of what position you get in the future, all right? And so whether it's assistant manager, branch manager, district manager, whatever the case is, it opens some amazing options for you guys. For those who are selected for any internships, you guys can earn college credits while in school doing that. I earned 8 credit hours at school. One semester I was interning as an assistant manager, and I did an internship in management. And then in the summer, I did an internship in marketing. And so I got some great, stuff from there. And so 8 credit hours, for stuff that I like really enjoy doing. And I was making great money and I was having so much fun with amazing people. It was pretty incredible. All right. And so our goal is that you guys go through this and you have options, for next summer, and that you can also open doors for yourself earlier for the training process. And we know that one of the options for next summer is that you don't work with Vector. We don't like that option. And so where I've had so many students, like I know the power and the benefit of Cutco through college and what it does for you and how it develops you, how it grows you, every year, just because each year, like, oh man, I got to learn this. Okay, now I got to do this, and like you just keep evolving, and the confidence that shoots through the roof every time that you go through that. I always have people going back and going, wow, that made such a big difference in my life, or like, wow, that helped my career so much. I get letters, I get emails. I see old reps all the time that look back on their experience in Leadership Academy, and talk about that and the push Alliance. Because in Alliance, we start talking about a lot of the achievement principles and like mental blocks and past programming. And so we do a lot of inner work, which some of you might be like, I'm not excited about that, but it's the stuff that really gets you to that next level. When you have full awareness of who you are and why you are the way you are, which is what we're going to talk about a lot during SE2 Push. It helps you really be able to take control of where you can go and where you want to be, because you feel like you can do it, because you did make decisions before, consciously or subconsciously, to get you to where you are, and you can make different choices to get you to a different place. And that's something that I'm so excited to be able to help you guys with. A lot of this is in my book. Some of you guys have read my book. Some of you guys have not. And so there's a lot of stuff in there, but we're going to be doing a deep dive to those. And so what I found is that when people go through Leadership Academy, it really helps them figure out what they're best suited for, right? And so internships with us, branch, assistant manager, district manager. I always have people that go to their interview and we start the interview and they're like, I'm 100%, I want to run a branch next summer, or like, I'm a district manager, put me down, hold my spot, and they're like all gung-ho. And I'm like, well, let's just see how things go, right? And, in some cases, like, I just didn't feel they were ready. We had to hold them back another year, until they could go out and do that, because I felt there was still some maturing that needed to happen, or maybe there was money management that wasn't good, and we needed to see that improve before the company gives them like $8,000 to run their business. And so we need to make sure that when we are approving people for these internships, that we really feel that they're going to do the best job and they're the best prepared. Okay. And at the same time, I have people all the time who are like, I think I just want to be assistant. I don't think I'm ready to run an office next summer. I'm like, no, you're not. That's what the next 10 months are for, right? Is to prepare you for that. And so I don't know anybody that's ready right now, right? And as they start going through the program and they get into like October, November, they're like, this is pretty easy. I could do this, and they're like gung-ho, and they've ended up being some of our top branch managers, like Brooke, and so they pick up the material a lot easier, and they're like, oh man, that was easier than I thought it would be, in terms of like learning it and feeling prepared to be ready to go. And I'll tell you guys right now, those of you who really want a chance to run your own branch or district next summer, it's one of the best things you could do for yourself. And if you don't know, you're like, what's the difference? Branch is just for the summer. It's a 4-month internship, May through August. And then district is a 1 to 3 year internship. Okay. So people do it around school at college as a district manager. Some people are taking a gap year. Some people are not students, they're professionals, and they want to use that as a launch pad to their company because they want to start their own X, Y, and Z business. Right. And so they'll do that with us and build for a year or two to just get the kinks out, again, under a great umbrella with great support system, with great products and systems that we know work, and then be able to apply the stuff that they gained here and put that into their own business. Okay. And so I wanted, what's the difference between being an assistant manager, being a branch manager, being a district manager? It's different levels of responsibility. Cool. We all learn the same stuff, and that's why we go through the same training program. We teach everybody the same thing. We want everyone to be good at running interviews. We want everyone to be good at doing personal coaching. We want everyone to be good at closing sales and doing PDI. We want everyone to be good at running training or supporting training. If someone's a first year, they're typically supporting training versus running it. And so as an assistant manager, those who, are, during the school year, you're doing those things probably 2 or 3 days a week, right? Some people 1 day a week. If you're a summer assistant manager, typically it's 2 or 3 days a week while selling, right? Whereas a branch manager will focus on their office for May and June. And then they'll switch gears and focus on their sales personally and with their team for those 2 months, because they're also making 50% commission as they're selling alongside their team. So they're getting dual income. They're making money off all their reps that are selling, recruiting, and they're getting money off their personal sales. That's the same with assistant managers, just different percentage. A branch manager is obviously making a lot more, seeing that they own the actual office. All right. And so then as a district manager, their main job is to really build a business and focus on building a business. And many of them do some sales on the side as well, just because they enjoy it and it's nice extra cash, and why not? If they make 30, 40, or 50% commissions, that's pretty cool. All right. But again, the difference isn't specifically the job duties. It's just the amount of responsibility the person takes on. And like, as a manager, you're like making schedules for people, you're paying bills. And so there's a couple extra things responsibility wise that need to be done. So branch managers and district managers are simply showing me that they can handle a little bit more responsibility. All right. So we don't make final decisions until December and January. But this year we have committed as a district manager team to get people who are like gung-ho, they're in, they've hit all their mile markers, they're over 6,000 in sales minimum this fall, they have over $1,500 in their savings, and these are the fall markers. So by December 15th, they're over 6,000 in personal sales, they have over $1,500 in savings. They've hit those levels and they're like really doing the right things. And they submit their letter of intent. So those are the 3 things, like, is their money minimum for the fall met? Is their sales minimum for the fall met? And then have they submitted their letter of intent? And this is a letter stating, it is my intention to do everything I can to earn a spot to have an internship next summer with Cutco, and stating that. And so once that's done, we've made a decision not to wait till December or January, but allow them to start knowing their territories earlier. So if they want to start building relationships with people there through social media, starting, and we have a whole program for that where we teach you guys how to do that. They're able to do social jumpstart, which really helps them get a head start amongst everybody else when they open their offices. And so once we finish up all the interviews, once I interview everybody, I get together with the district managers and decide on who's accepted into Leadership Academy. The second day of SC2 in Austin, so Sunday the 6th, will be our Leadership Academy kickoff in the morning. And then in the afternoon, we will head to the lake for our boat day, which will be super fun to celebrate with everyone. Once someone is accepted into Leadership Academy, we do want them training in their local office at least once a week, so that they can shadow, they can practice, they can implement. That can be done virtually or in person. Okay. And so that's huge. And a lot of students love that too, because they'll do it with other people. It's more social. They can also do it one-on-one on their own if they have a crazy school schedule, and we'll figure out, like how to get their training in. All right. Then we meet weekly, like I was saying, 1 time a week. We meet, and so that is typically Monday afternoons from like 3:30 to 5 is what we've done in the past. I'm pretty sure we're going to keep it the same, but we'll know for sure in the next 2 weeks. But 3:35 is typically what it looks like. And so we get together and we go over these classes that I showed you guys, in addition to learning something in the Cutco business to prepare you guys to be able to do internships with us. Okay. And so we hand out, we hand out any, book list that we recommend. We'll hand you the expectations of timetable in terms of savings. And that's a really big thing we're going to talk about in a minute, because if selected to run a branch or a district, the company gives you a big chunk of money, and they want to know that you are responsible with money. They want to know that you're personally saving and investing into your own business if they're going to invest into your business. All right. And so we'll talk about that, but we've been doing this for a long time. We have our New York trip, which I think next week will become active for people to be able to get sponsored, to be able to go to Ole in New York with us. So we actually take a group up to the factory, and you guys get to meet all of the executives. You get to see how the products are made. We actually walk around the whole factory, and you get to see how every single step in terms of like the craftsmanship, like it's crazy. Like when I went my first time, I was like, holy crap, I was so sad I didn't get to go this past year because I was like super pregnant and about to pop. But I'm so excited to be able to go back this year and see everybody, because it really is like a big family. And I love that, about our business. And so we will have that happening. That will be first weekend of November. We'll be going up to New York. So we stay in Niagara Falls, at right on the border of the New York side, Niagara Falls, and then the Canadian side. So anyone who has their passports or passport card, we can actually walk across from our hotel. We can walk across the bridge into Canada. We have a really fun time over there, and so it's really cool. You get to see one of the wonders of the world. Cutco knives in the factory. No, I'm just kidding. The wonder of the world is Niagara Falls. But then also we get to go to the factory. You get to meet some of the top people from all over the region. So people will be there from Colorado, from New Mexico, from Arizona, from Texas, Tennessee, Louisiana, Alabama, Oklahoma, and just sharing success together with all my colleagues, my boss, and again, president of Cutco, CEO, everybody. So it's a really freaking cool. Then over the winter break, we'll have some type of sales contest for you guys to be able to win a trip. I can't tell you where it'll be. Last trip, we took over 50 people to Puerto Vallarta. The year before, we went to Cabo San Lucas. And so we always go somewhere warm, typically somewhere in Mexico, whether it's Cabo, Cancun, Puerto Vallarta, or we do a cruise, and just have a really fun time. And so you guys will hear about that as well. So our goal, and I showed you guys, the academy, is that we help you grow professionally. And so we have a resume workshop will be happening each week to help you guys with that. I know some of you guys attended on Monday with John, but to get things organized, we'll have speakers that come in once a month. So the program in the fall works. We meet weekly. On Mondays is when we typically meet. Then we have monthly. We meet once a month as a group. In September, I'll be live out of College Station. So anyone who's in College Station can be together live. Everyone else will Zoom in, or if you're close by, you can come over. We're going to go to Midnight Yell afterwards that night. We're going to hang out the next day and go to the game, or at least tailgate, whoever wants to hang out, and just spend some time together before people head back. So that'll be a lot of fun. So just so you guys know, that's something that'll be happening in October. I have to look to see what date we're going to meet, if it'll be in person or on Zoom. In November, we'll meet here live as people come home for Thanksgiving. And then in December, we will have a live event and our holiday party on like December 15th, something like that. So you guys will get more information on that and details of that, so you have it. But I do want to say that almost every single person who's gone through Leadership Academy has been a student that had papers to write, projects to work on, tests to take. They've had sports or fraternity or sorority, FFA, social stuff, whatever it is. We know people are busy, and especially the more talented our guys are, we found the more they're involved with things, right? And we're not going to ask anyone to choose Vector over school. We know that school comes first. I was in Leadership Academy. School came for me first as well. And so we expect that. But we're asking people to do both and do both really well. Our expectation is that because of Leadership Academy, your grades are actually better than if you weren't in Leadership Academy. We'll be helping you out with time management. We'll make sure that you have a schedule that you're excited about. Make sure you have study time. Make sure you have time to have with your friends, if you're playing sports or intramurals or whatever, and being able to enjoy your time in college while being able to make some phenomenal income as well. And so the best people can handle both. Like I was in volleyball, I was in the honors college, I I had a crazy schedule. I was dating somebody. I helped in the dorms, like as one of the RAs. I helped in the church with one of youth groups. Like I had a lot of stuff. And so my manager really helped me get good at time management and organizing stuff so that I could get it all done. And so that's part of the preparation process, is someone really showing me that they can handle Leadership Academy on top of their other commitments. They're showing me they can lead themselves, and perhaps they're ready for a little bit more responsibility as a high level assistant manager or branch manager next summer. And so if they can't even lead themselves, then obviously I can't give them more responsibility next summer, And so again, it's 10 months from now, but I want to make sure that people really feel good. And so in the fall, it's not a lot of time to be in Leadership Academy. It's like joining a club at school, joining a marketing club, or being part of a fraternity or sorority. So again, weekly meetings, and then one event a month that we do all together, and so I don't want somebody just checking it out. I want somebody that's 100% committed to the training, because just like anything else, the more you put into it, the more you'll get out of it, and so I don't want somebody like, oh, I can't make it on Monday for our thing because I have a test on Tuesday. It's like, well, then you should have studied during the weekend. And maybe that meant sacrificing like tailgating, getting trashed all day and being hungover the next day, and you didn't have a chance to study, right? Like those are the kind of sacrifices, just being a little bit more responsible, planning ahead so that you can get it all done and you can have fun with friends. But there might be a sacrifice where it's like, I'm not going to drink all day because then I'm going to feel like crap tomorrow. And tomorrow I've got to get stuff done and I've got to study for my test, right? And so as long as you plan ahead, we know that sometimes there's things that you can't move. We get that. But for the most part, we want to make sure that, you have it in your schedule, you're ready to go, you're there. Sometimes you will feel overwhelmed with everything because you're in school, you've got studies, especially those who are freshmen, and you're adapting to a new schedule. One of the worst things that you can do is leave Cutco out and say, let me get used to my schedule first, and then I'll add Cutco. That'll never happen because you get used to it without it. One of the best things you can do, and I think Johnny, I talked to you about that, is when you start school, keep Cutco in, but very part-time. Maybe it's one day, right? And it's just 1 day or 2 days, and that's it. It's the only time you think about Cutco are those 1 or 2 days. For me, the 2 days were a team meeting and phone calls, and then my demo day, right? And like, that was it. And then as I got acclimated into the semester, I was like, okay, you know what? I can squeeze 2 more on Tuesday or Friday. And I did that. And I added like 2 more demos. So I always did like my Saturday was my big demo day. And I know that's not the case in the fall in Texas, football crazies. But that was my schedule in the spring. I played volleyball in the fall. So it's like in this, like I did that. Every Saturday was my demo day. And then I added doing like 2 on Tuesday or 2 on Friday to that, right? And so whatever it is, your routine, get a plan where you have at least 3 to 5 demos a week. And that could be just one day, Friday afternoon. That could be Monday. That could be Sunday, whatever, but pick one day is the easiest. Or if you want 2 days of 2 demos, then pick that. Maybe like, oh, you know what? This is perfect. Friday afternoon, I can do 2 demos at like 3:30 and 5:30. And then Monday afternoon, I'm going to do 2. And that fits really well with my schedule. Everyone's going to be different. All right. And so we'll figure out the flow that works for you. We'll look at everything you have going on and make sure, you have a good plan. But I do want to say, just be proactive, don't avoid your manager's calls when you get overwhelmed. That's when you want to talk to them most and say, hey, I got a lot going on, Claudia. Like I have this event going on. I have this for school. Can you help me with my schedule so I can get it all done? And if you do that, you're going to alleviate a lot of the stress that you might have. And our hope is that you get great grades and crush all of your projects. All right. And I remember, when Matt Voss was in Leadership Academy a couple of falls ago, he sold $35,000, won an All-American, got straight A's. He graduated, or that semester he had a 3.9 GPA while earning 17 grand around his classes at ASU, pretty cool. And so the most important person you guys have to impress between now and the end of the push is your direct branch or district manager. For those who are in the pilot, that's Claudia or Spencer. For anyone else in another office, it's whoever is the manager of that office, because I'm going to be talking to them, asking them, hey, how's Johnny doing? Hey, what's he been up to? Hey, how's Chance doing? What's going on here? And getting updates. Because again, I'll be really busy doing interviews throughout the division. And so I'll be checking in with them to see how you guys are doing. And so this is a very important part of the selection process. And I'd say one of the biggest things is being part of the SE2 Alliance, like being a part of that group. Like I want people in leadership with discipline. I want people that can work independently, but can also work well in a team environment, right? Like our company, we love to have fun competing. We always have fun rewards. Like they're very good at motivating us to work hard and rewarding us for our hard work. But we want to know that when it's game time and then our starting lineup is like ready to go, that they're able to go out and give it all they've got when it's time to perform, and so have you spoken to your manager yet about being part of this SC2 10K Alliance? We have a boot camp coming up on the 11th. And so that's huge. And so we have a big plan. Mike Lanzetta is going to be talking on the psychology of sales. We have another top Hall of Famer that's going to be talking about just like the benefits of push and how you expand yourself, your body, like mentally, emotionally, the personal benefits, the professional benefits, the financial benefits. We're going to teach you guys how to close Cutco kitchens. And so these are $7,000 to $10,000 orders and how to present those. And even if you don't sell, maybe you only sell one during the push, that's pretty cool. But you're going to sell a lot more complete sets, 3 to 5K orders by showing the 7 to 10K orders. And so we're going to show you guys how to close Cutco kitchens. We're going to have a panel and Q&A on how to like really maximize your referrals. We're going to show you guys how to have Miss Jones book the appointments for you, which was my favorite, especially during pushes. Showing you guys how to really enroll customers into your goals and maximizing not just recs at the appointment, but ongoing referrals throughout the entire push and ongoing sales and how to really rock that properly. And then we're going to be talking about just steps to help build momentum before the kickoff event on Sunday, the 16th. Cool. So that is what is going on. So just so you guys know, so talk to your managers to make sure you have a proper game plan and make sure that you get invited to Tuesday's boot camp, because that's going to be freaking money in the bank. It's going to help you put a lot more money in the bank. The stuff we're going to be bringing and the caliber from that I'm going to bring to you guys, as well as the other Cutco sales professionals who help come bring some value. All right. Last thing I want to touch on is the financial responsibility of being in our leadership academy. We want people who have a habit of being good at saving money, because that's leadership. Some people say, well, I've been saving money since I was 2, I can show you, or that's great, but Cutco wants to see it moving forward. The corporate wants to see that moving over. We want to see that. Why? Because again, if you save $2,000 to $3,000 by next March, worst case scenario, like let's say you don't get selected. Well, you have money saved that you can put into investments or into your Roth IRA. Okay. If you have a chance to run a branch or a district, the fact is we want to make sure that one, you can say, I've made money here, I've saved money here. Let me show you how to make money here. That's leadership. All right. But also the company is not going to feel comfortable giving you $8,000 to $10,000 because as a branch or as a district, either way, you get $3,000 towards basic office expenses. Cool. Then you get $3,000 for actual like office rent to pay for your office space. Okay. When you have a lease. So that's $6,000. Then as a branch manager, branches get $2,500 in marketing support with letters and mailers. And so the company's not going to give that if they don't see you at least have $500 to put towards it, if they're going to put $2,500, right? And then as a district, they actually do $6,600 in marketing support to help market the positions that you have available. So very important that if they're going to give this money to somebody, they know that this somebody is able to get that done, and so a lot of companies are doing credit checks now. Like if you're bad with your money, they don't even want to hire you because they don't want you to bring all that baggage with you into the workplace, worried about your finances all the time instead of focusing on your job. And so we're trying to really teach these habits because we know that one of the habits of a great leader is that they can manage their own finances. And so that's really important. And we want people, in Leadership Academy who, again, are committed. And so when you have your interview, all right, whenever you interview, one of the big things that your manager should tell you and you want to have is you want to have a check or a money order that you're like ready to submit to open your management savings account. All right. And it just shows I'm committed. I'm going to save money. It could be $100. It doesn't even matter what it is. It just shows your commitment. Now, for the big dogs who are like, I want to earn a top spot, I want to reserve, like our big dogs typically come with a check for $1,000, 1,500, 2,500. Jacob Gonzalez, I think his check was over $5,000. I remember Christina, her check was over $5,000, and they were like, I'm serious, here you go. And that goes in a savings account, and it's your money. You can take it out at any time if you need it, but the goal is that you don't need it until next summer. The next summer you can use that money to prepay all your expenses, pay your rent, pay your car, pay your car insurance, pay like any expenses you have, so that you don't have to worry about any personal bills in the summer, and you can just have fun and focus and build your business. That's the best way to do it. All right. And so cash is confidence. Again, the money you save is your money, and it's to pay your bills. But we want to make sure you have that ahead of time, so you're not stressed next summer and showing up all disheveled because you're like, how am I going to pay this? I got to pay my rent. I got to, you're just like, I already prepaid everything, and you can just focus and have fun. Does that make sense to everybody? And so again, worst case scenario, if you're like, oh, but if I don't open an office, then you have money saved. That's great. And we can show you what you can do with it to start saving. Zach saved over $10,000. Mike saved over $7,000. And they were able to do some extra things when they ran their branch that others weren't able to by choice. They did some fun contests. They did some fun events because they had some extra income. And so when we're deciding on territories, we want to take a look at savings and see, okay, if we're going to put them in this spot, do they have the funds to be able to take care of that area? Because some areas are more expensive than others. And so we know that. So when we rate you guys for positions, we look at one, where's your career sales? Cool. And so how much have you sold since you work with Kako? Like, my career sales are like 66 million as an office, right? Or 68 million. I don't know where it is now, but my personal sales, career sales are about 400,000. Cool. I sold about $400,000 as a sales rep. And then I produced, I don't know what I'm at now, probably close to 68 million as an actual office and division. And so we want to know, where's your career sales? Are you at, the goal is that everyone's over 10,000 when they go out to run their branch. Some people are at 20,000, 30,000. My goal is to help as many people already be at 30K or more and be in bonus land when they open their office for the summer. And so we always see that, and they go out with a different level of confidence because again, they have succeeded at higher levels and they're able to pour that to their people. So that's huge. The second thing is skills in the office, like how are you doing with closing sales? How are you doing with running interviews? How are you doing with these things? And so that's something that your managers will teach you, for those in the pilot. And I'm going to talk to you guys separately. This Friday, I'm actually doing a assistant manager in training boot camp. We're doing Friday afternoon for just a couple hours to teach how to close sales, how to upsell orders, how to do skills, and just stuff that's going to help you in your personal business, but it'll also help you as you're mentoring others, right? The third thing is management savings. How much do you have in your savings? And I'll wrap up in a second showing you like what are the ways you can put money in there. Cool. But where are your management savings? The fourth thing is professionalism and communication. We want to make sure that, do you do what you say you're going to do? Are you someone of integrity? Can we trust your word? If you say, I'm going to be here at this time, or I'm going to be there, I'm going to do that. Are we like, oh yeah, it's done. We know that. Or are we like, oh yeah, right. Because we never follow through, right? Like we want to see that. So that's the fourth thing we're looking at, is that professionalism and communication. And number 5 is attendance to events, because at the end of the day, when it comes down to two people and they're pretty even on everything, if we have to pick between the two, we're going to pick the one that attended more events. Why? Because they have more knowledge, they've been involved more, right? And so that's something big. So if you ever have to miss an event, just make sure to get really good notes. One, always we need to know that in advance so that you don't get deducted points or we don't look at you as like unreliable. And then make sure you get notes from a friend so that you're caught up and you're feeling good. All right. If you ever have to take money out, maybe you have an emergency, right? Like the car breaks down, this happened, whatever, and you have to take money out of your savings. That's not a problem. Okay. But just be prepared for me to ask one question. I'm going to say, hey, what's your plan to put it back in, right? What's your plan to put it back in quickly, and making sure we have a plan. In life, people have emergency funds all the time and they'll put money out of it and they never have a plan to put money back in. And so another emergency hits and then they're like, oh crap, and they go into credit cards and then they go into more debt. And so the goal is that you guys learn how to do that properly, how to manage money, that you're selling and earning enough that you don't need to touch that money. So it can just keep growing. But if you ever need to tap into it, just don't be offended if I ask that question. I just want to help you guys create good habits, good life skill savings. All right. So I mentioned this, you can write this down. There's 3 ways to save, to put money into your savings. Number 1 is assistant manager savings. And so anyone that we promote now as an assistant manager, intern and training, like you're going to see, don't even look at it until the end of summer. There's going to be money going in there every week. And it's just a little small bonus as you're learning and training and just leading by example, you know, and so you're getting a little income. As you get into higher roles, well, obviously, you know, Claudia's paychecks are more like, you know, $600, $800, $1,000 or more from the office, where yours is not going to be there. So it'll be a smaller amount to just help you guys as you're training. So it's like a small paid internship, right? And you're learning and growing. So that's the first. Number 2 is tax withholdings. 1, you guys all need to schedule that anyway, because you're going to want that for your taxes next year. In any other job, if you guys work another job, anyone here ever had a real job before? Anyone ever had another job where you get taxes taken out, right? And so at the end of each week, you get your check. And there's like a chunk gone, right? You're like, what happened? And it's like all Social Security, taxes, whatever. And it's usually about 28%, just so you guys know, like that's pretty average standard of money taken out. So in Cutco, you don't have that money taken out automatically. Okay. You guys get to actually pick what, but you want to set it up though. Cool. It's not set up automatically. Once you're over 6,000, we typically set that up. I recommend the sooner the better, but just treat it like a normal job, like a W-2 job where money's taken out. The good thing is that it's your money. And at the end of the year, whatever you need to use for taxes, we'll take from there. But we end up paying like probably like 10% or less in taxes versus 28%. And so you can use some of that money to fill your Roth IRA. Maybe you're like, all right, that's full. Now you can put money into maybe a life insurance or maybe into a real estate deal or something else happening, but you can start making that money work for you. Okay. And so you guys get to pick the amount. You can actually go all the way to 50%. All my big hitters, all my heavy hitters, I put them at 50%. Like they had already made a lot of money. I'm like, you made $3,000 already. You don't need that much money. Like just, you can go all the way to 50. So you can pick your percent in 5% intervals. You can do 20, 25%, 30, 35%, 40, 45%, or 50%. Okay. If you need to go a little bit lower, you can go as low as 15%. But I recommend being aggressive with it, or at least matching what it would be at any other workplace, right? You would not have a choice if you work at HEB or somewhere else in terms of what percentage gets taken out. It's just automatically the government takes that. So we want to pick, and if you know right now, you're welcome. You can message me personally. You don't have to let everyone see it in the chat, and you can put your rep number and what percentage you want to be at, so we can set that up for you, and I can submit that so it can start saving. And you'll see it each week on your check on the bottom. You'll see tax withholdings, how much went in for the week and how much is in their total. All right. You'll see that accumulating on there, just so you guys know. And Johnny, I'll answer questions in a minute. Okay. Just to wrap up here. And so the third is you write a check or a money order that you give me at the kickoff event. And you're like, here you go. And the goal is, how soon can you have your first $1,000 in there? Okay. To go to Oli in New York, you have to have a minimum of $1,000 in there. You have to be at a minimum of $6,000 in personal sales to be able to approve to go to New York. And it's the first 100-something people in all of Southwest region. So it does go pretty quick. So we want to get, it opens next Friday, and we'll be talking more about that. To go to New York, you sell a Homemaker Plus 8, and that sponsors your whole trip. It pays your flight to New York. It pays all your transport. It pays three nights hotel, pays your food, all the meetings and stuff. And so it's freaking awesome. So just so you guys know that. Last thing, so I'm at 7 things. I already said 2 of them, or 1 of them, but 7 things I'll leave you guys with in terms of what now. Number 1, set up your management savings. Is your tax savings set up? Do you have a check for me? If you're going to be working as an assistant manager in your office, or an assistant or a team leader, once you're on payroll, put that 100% away. Don't even look at it. Everyone lives off their sales, their personal sales. Number 2, get on SE2 Alliance. Cool. We have a boot camp next Tuesday on the 11th. We're going to be here at the office working together. We start at 11 a.m. So talk to your manager about it. Be a part of that. It's going to be awesome. All right. And that'll be happening from 11 until we'll probably be here until like 5. So we're going to be doing a lot of work together, bring food, we'll be hanging out together, we'll be working together, we'll make some calls together. And like I said, we've got some pretty badass workshops happening through the day you guys have not heard yet as we prepare for the Super Bowl. Number 3, continue to have a great attitude. All right. Number 4, field train others, like help others. The more you help others, the more you help yourself. I really want to encourage you guys to do that. Number 5, keep learning. All right. Keep learning. And so there's on Vector Connect, there's so many resources there. On my YouTube channel, there's so many resources there to help you as a sales rep and help you as a leader. You know, if you're helping coach a mini team, if you're a co-captain, or if you're a newly promoted assistant manager, there's so much stuff there that can help you guys develop skill sets and confidence. Number 6, have very open communication. Make sure you guys are talking to us, talking to your managers, keeping us posted on what's going on. And number 7, get signed up for SC2. Today's actually the last day. Well, tomorrow before 10 a.m. is the last day to be able to do the early bird pricing. And so they did a $10 off for the event. For SC2, and that's going to be over in Austin on the 5th and 6th of August. So Saturday and Sunday. And then for those who hit events training Monday, they'll have the events training. All right. So you won't be kicked out of Leadership Academy if you miss something, but I encourage you guys to do everything in your power to make it. As long as you have, you know, if you miss something, have a plan to make up the information, make sure that you stay on point with everything. All right. But those are all the details. I know I went a little bit over. I want to open it up now for any questions that you